This is Derek O'Father-in-law with the Medicine Show, and today I'm going to discuss building an Obi-Chi, or a sacred space in Odinala, popularly known as the ancestral altar. The Obi-Chi is where an individual goes to connect with their inner universe and their Chi, a space for meditation into self and connecting to elements beyond the physical realm. It is a place where an individual gives thanks and honor to God, the ancestors, and the forces of the universe, as well as speaking affirmations to life and confronting their inner demons. The Obi-Chi, or the ancestral altar, is a work of art that represents you. It grows and changes as you grow and change in your path in life and gain understanding of self. In this video, I'll give the purpose and philosophy behind altar building, and the meaning behind the symbols and features that you will see in an altar, as well as 5 steps on how you can build your own. In the view of our ancestors, you are a galaxy, and an altar is built as a symbolic map of the forces that orbit your chi. The objects of an altar stand as symbols for the facets of your inner universe, everything it takes to make and sustain you as a person. And therefore, building an altar is building an abstraction of yourself. Because we exist in a manifest plane, it is difficult, if not impossible, for us to interact with forces that we cannot connect to our physical senses. Things we cannot see, touch, taste, hear, or smell do not seem to exist to us as people, and therefore interacting with them and understanding them becomes difficult. Because we cannot see our demons, they approach us and run free within us with the advantage of stealth. Because we cannot see those who are no longer living, it is difficult for us to continue to kindle the love and connection we have for them. When an individual builds an altar, they pour everything within themselves onto a sacred space where they can enter and interface with what's within. The process is similar to speech. Our minds have thoughts and sensations we wish to express and sometimes understand better by projecting and manifesting them into the physical world. As a thought alone, what is in our mind cannot be understood outside of our mind, and therefore we use symbols to manifest them into the physical world. Some of these symbols include sounds, and by knowing the meanings and nuances behind different sounds in a language, we're able to send our ideas outside of our minds and into the minds of others. This can also be done by writing, physical gestures, and even silence, among others. Building an altar is a similar form of communication. Only in Odinala, the altar is not designed to communicate with others. The altar is designed for you to communicate with yourself, for you to enter your own Obi and sit in the presence of everything within you. A sacred space for you to pray, meditate, create, give thanks, learn, and commune with all that is within you but has no physical form. And so the first step in building an altar is finding a space that allows you to do this, a space that is private and personal, free from distractions and imbued with the essence of stillness and calm. Once the space is selected, the second step is choosing which items will serve as metaphors for the forces within. But before doing this, it is important to know what is not depicted in Odinala. Many build altars for the purpose of connecting to God, but in Odinala, Chi is not depicted, for God's essential nature is to exist beyond manifestation. At the same time, there is Chi in all things. Your presence, as well as the Chi in the symbols you choose, represent the presence of the Chi for the altar. In Odinala, God is 2 parts, Chi and Eke. Eke, the manifest universal mother, is represented by the physicality of the altar itself. Like Chi, the unmanifest, and Eke, the manifest, your altar is a marriage between both sides of existence, a microcosm of the formula for creation itself. Beyond Shineke, the forces an individual chooses to interface with vary from person to person, based on what their chi tells them is right and necessary. But most commonly, the Obi-Chi features symbols for the ancestors, which brings us to step 2, representing your ancestors. Because you are your ancestors, including their presence in your altar is key to looking within. One can list their names on a sheet of paper, include pictures or family heirlooms or objects that give the essence of an ancestor or someone that is in the beyond. These can be things your ancestors or even deceased friends found happiness and identity in. For example, if you had a friend who enjoyed fishing, you may include a fishing hook or a statue of a fish, as long as you feel their essence in seeing or feeling the object. If you had an ancestor who smoked tobacco, you may put a pipe or tobacco leaves somewhere in the altar. If you have an ancestor who is a devout Christian, you may include a cross or a Bible. Once you have learned the name of your ancestors, learn their stories, and from there you will know what to place in their altar to represent them. Learn who they were on a personal level, so that your connection and interface with them will be rich with their feeling and presence of their essence. After each ancestor is accounted for, the next step is to add the 4 elements. Chineke used 4 elements in creating the universe we know today. Because we are the universe in miniature, these elements create and govern us as well. These are Eke, Urie, Afo, and Wo. On the physical plane, each of these elements represent themselves as light for Eke, water for Urie, earth for Afo, and wind for Nkwo. Eke is the element of light and can be brought forth through candles, lights, or burning of any sort. Eke is the element of the east, the direction that gives birth to the sun. In the calendar, Eke is also a day of rest, the day of woman, girl, mother, and daughter, and one can choose how they depict this understanding in their own personal altar. Urie is the element of water and is represented through the presence of water in the altar. Nzu and Edo are also substances that represent water, and I'll elaborate more in a video on the water element itself. Urie is also the western element. It is the direction where the sun retires, and understanding this concept can be communicated by placing water on the western portion of the altar, or however an individual chooses based on what feels right to them. Afo is the earth element, and the physical presence of sand is used to represent it. It is advised you use sand from your ancestral home, or if you're in your ancestral home, sand from your community's main altar. For those who are not from the region, sand that is personally important to you or your family is best. It should be known that what is said to sand is binding, as it is the body of the earth mother who life and law comes from. Therefore, once sand is present in your altar, you cannot lie upon the altar or use the altar to harm others. Afo is also the northern element. Nkwo is the wind element and is represented by what feels right to the individual, though often feathers from great birds is used as a common representation. The act of blowing onto the altar, either nzu powder or water from the mouth, are also common. Nkwo is also the element of the south. Once you have established the representation of your ancestors as well as the four elements, step 4 is representation of the arushi that is important to you. Each arushi is the life force of an element in the universe, and together they make the universe as a whole. In Odinala, we believe that all things have a chi. Chi is our life force and what allows us to see humanity in each other. But as we see humanity in each other, our ancestors saw the same in the rivers and trees, the earth, the sun, moon, and stars, and in darkness and light. For this video, we'll call them arushi, but having a catch-all term for the arushi is difficult, and when placed in the personal altar, they are known as okwensi. I'll explain the difference in a video that goes in depth on the concept of arushi and explains exactly what it all means. But for the sake of this video, we're going to use arushi because at the moment it is the most popular term for the concept. Before choosing the arushi one wishes to depict on their altar, one must know the arushi well enough to do so confidently. Each arushi has what it brings into a person's life as well as what it demands from an individual. And an arushi's presence in your obi-chi is a sign that you have wisdom of its nature and the relationship you have with it as an individual. With or without the depiction, the arushi is already at work within us and around us, but harnessing its power comes in understanding what it is, what it gives, and what it receives. For example, if a person chooses to call on Agun and depict them in their altar, they should also know that Agun is activated by selflessness, altruism, internal contemplation, humility, and discipline. Agun then brings wisdom, breakthroughs, ideas, clairvoyance, insight, prophecy, and the ability to see truth. Agun shows an individual their destiny, their chi, and their path in life. It also activates the healer within. And throughout history, you'll find individuals who tapped into Agun's power and the level of discipline and selflessness needed to make it happen that is also a part of their story. One may call upon the spirit of the waters, whose names differ by culture or body of water being referenced, but are universally attached to Oshimiri, the source water that came from the eyes of Chi and buried Eke, giving her life and resurrection. Water is the source of life itself. The Oshimiri blesses individuals with abundance, new beginnings, divine forgiveness, purification, life, health, creativity, and love. But the waters themselves seek love, affection, gifts, and signs of appreciation and praise from an individual. If you place Amadioha on your altar, the spirit will bring justice, courage, fairness, power, success, leadership, and the support of the masses. But it demands commitment to serving and being governed by the will of your people, to stand for justice, equality, and fairness in all actions, and to abstain from crime and spiritual abominations. Once you have chosen the arushi you wish to acknowledge, step 5 is placing the objects of merit on your altar. As you grow and develop in your spiritual journey, you will unlock and activate certain parts of your universal essence. When this is done, there are objects created to symbolize the achievement. These may include your ikenga, a statue crafted for those who are walking in the path of their chi. Your ikenga is your inner strength and is unlocked once you are in alignment with your chi. The statue itself will give you clues as to the nature of your power, which itself is related to the nature of your destiny. Another object may be the Alfa, a staff of authority passed down to an individual from their ancestors, which makes you a connection and authority for both your spiritual and living family. Other objects may include successful talisman known as Obunsi, An Obunsi is a physical vessel of your will. An individual that wishes to achieve a task or conquer a personal demon or hold themselves to a standard has an Obunsi crafted to represent the will to see it to the end. The Obunsi is used to speak affirmations onto and keep on your person when you wish to achieve something that requires the power of your chi. If you are successful at the said task, it is advised that you keep the talisman on your altar, as it is now a concentration of your will and cannot fall into the hands of someone you do not trust. I'll make a video explaining talisman and how to use them in Odinala, as well as other sacred objects, so if you're interested, let me know. You can also keep the heads of the demons you have slain at your altar through the art of mask making. I'll speak more on mask making in another video, but in short, Odinala believes in conquering your personal demons and traumas by knowing, accepting, and owning them. Demons such as the fear of failure, fear of loneliness, procrastination, anxiety, hate, insecurity, ego, addiction, depression, self-deception, and trauma are common with most people. In Odinala, we do not wish these things out of our life because they are a part of us. Instead, we strive to understand them and bring them under our control so that they do not control us. Through understanding them, even as an enemy, the strength to control and hold them at bay is possible. We strive to learn what they want from us and what we want from them. And from there, we begin gaining the strength to overcome them or finding strength within them. The key is to find peace with what haunts you, and the first step is giving it a face that you can look into. To say, I know what you are, I know what you want. I have accepted you as a part of me, but not as my master. Embracing your challenges is key to embracing yourself. And then, of course, this includes the fun part, which is the practice of surrounding yourself with the things that give you light, peace, and happiness. Things that inspire you or give you genuine joy in life are milestones to your road towards your destiny. Surrounding your altar with the things that make you feel like you, that give you connection to the light of your essence and the light of the world. Our altars are as effective as they are able to touch your senses and your heart, and therefore do not shy from the opportunity to surround yourself with things that give you happiness and make you feel at peace in your place of solace. And those are the 5 steps. From there, you do what you want to do at your altar, be it meditate, pray. I read of an individual that plays the Oja for his ancestors because he comes from a line of musicians. Individuals write poetry there, they create art, do yoga. From there is completely up to you, but the objective is again to create a visual of what is within you, to best understand and come into oneness with yourself. Let me know what you think. As always, I thank you for watching these videos, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so that you know when the next one is coming. Let me know what topics you want me to cover. I brushed on a couple of things very briefly in this video, so if there's anything you want me to elaborate on, I'd be very happy to go ahead and do that. Or if you have something in mind, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. Thank you very much. Take care.